Hey, today I have a bit of a hobby update for you guys. I have been working on terrain this last week, and let me show you what I have been working on. Some of it is bold action, some of it is not. So this is a kit that I won from the WTC. It is a ruined city building, and I've painted it up to fit in with my donated table from Denne in the Netherlands. It was a really nice kit. The only thing I was slightly worried about is that the roof is not MDF. It's actually cardboard, cardstock, I think it's called. But it does have a detachable roof, and I'm a little concerned that this might not stand up to heavy use. Right, I have painted it on the sprue, which is something I learned from Wargames Illustrated. Paint it on the sprue. It's much better. Much better. Don't assemble it first. That's what I always did with my MDF kits. And I then I painted it, and then I added in some, little bits of paper stock. So there's a couple of pictures on the wall here, and there's a carpet and some newspapers that have been, dropped inside the house, inside the building. So yeah, all of that is just printed on paper and then glued down using PVA. So that is the newest addition to my ruined Berlin table. I won another prize, which was a £100 from Model Miniatures, which is in the mail because of Brexit. It takes a while to get through, and I have to pay customs and stuff. But it's on the way, and I'm going to also I had a print of a factory that I want to include in my ruined Berlin terrain, basically. So that's the first thing I was working on, and this is pretty much finished. There's a little bit, highlights, whatever, but it's tabletop ready. The second thing I've been working on is actually a long wanted project for medieval stuff. I am trying to get a little bit into, never mind the billhooks or some sort of late medieval stuff. I have a huge army for late medieval 14th century War of the Roses style stuff, and for that I went back into my collection of childhood toys, and I found this brilliant kit, which is from the 1980s. This was made in Hong Kong by a company that copied something from Germany, I think. And it's actually perfectly 28mm size. So not Warhammer, heroic 28mm, but this is a castle that I got when I was a child. There's a lot more of it, but this is the main building of the castle. So what I've been working on is painting this up to look like sandstone. There's still a bit of work to do with doors and stuff, and there are some gaps here to assemble the castle itself, which I may just use some filler at some point, because I don't think I'll be using them, but that was the main basis. And as soon as I knew that I wanted to do a castle for my medieval stuff, which could, by the way, also be used for something like a scenario like Castle Itter, or what is it? There was that one battle where the SS fought the German army along with the Americans in World War II. So I could easily do something like that with medieval buildings around, right? I sort of went online and got a bit more. So this next bit I purchased used and then painted up, and it was, and I don't know what the manufacturer of this castle is, but again, there was a large set. There's a gatehouse and all kinds of different stuff for this, and I immediately thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if this castle had hoardings? So I grabbed my coffee stirrers and I made hoardings, and I am really pleased with these, which is why I'm keeping them a little bit back. But look at that shit! Isn't that amazingly cool? That is my hoardings for my medieval castle, just made out of coffee stir sticks. The roof here is individually carved roofing tiles, and it actually does come off and on. It is a little bit tricky to get on and off, but you know. The towers themselves also can be assembled and disassembled a little bit, so I can do it in different, you know, constellations depending on how I want it all to look. Amazingly cool. For this, I went online again and got some more stuff. Actually, there was one guy who like, oh, I noticed that you're buying stuff. Would you be interested in a Renadra, I think it's called, castle? And I was like, oh, well, sure. I'll take it. So I got one more. It's insane. Again, I'm going for a sandstone-y look. This was made using just craft paints. There was a little bit of washing going on, so I did a little bit of wash going down from the arrow slits and where, you know, and I think I'll do a little bit more because it doesn't show up that well on video, but I think I'll do a little bit more so that it's clear that water has been running here or whatever, right? And then sponges, like makeup sponges or just, you know, your average kitchen sponge, pulled apart and then just dabbing different colors on it and then dry brushing with an off-white. So 3 colors and a wash, basically. And again, this actually comes apart, so you could potentially put minis inside, which is rather cool. So all of that is my castle project, which is almost done. Almost done. I'm still working a little bit on it because I want it to look really cool for my well-painted medieval armies. Anywho, final thing I wanted to show you today in my hobby update is I got a little packet. And this is because I have for quite a while now been using Cossacks, and I wanted. There was one tournament where I was going to, and I suddenly realized I didn't have enough for what I wanted to build, the army that I want to build. 1250 points. It's a lot of points, and you can bring a lot of Cossacks with that amount of points. So I contacted a local 3D printer, and this is the very beautiful Propolescu 3D prints, I think they're called. I do have others of that range, very, very pretty, and I got them printed. So now I'm going to see what they look like. I'm going to unbox them live, so we hope they're good, right? Otherwise I'll be disappointed on camera, which is not good for, yeah, you know. But I really trust this 3D printer. I think you should always go with someone that you trust. He's been very good to me, and you know, I've been getting 3D prints from him for quite a while. And look at the bag that I got here. This is everything, I think. He's put it all in one bag. I'll just remove all that stuff. So he said it was a little bit tricky to get them right, so he did have a few misprints, which when you're printing cav with horse legs, which are spindly and fiddly, and so I'm really hoping that they look okay, and I can pick up a horse right now and show you guys. That is a rather pretty little horse, and I think it scales really well with my previous Cossacks, which are the Perry miniatures converted from their American Civil War with a Perry dark body. Really nice horses. I like that they include the reins. Yeah, they're looking really cool. Let's see if we can find a rider for one of these. Yes, we can. Here we have one guy pointing. He has an SMG and a strap. Now, these guys are obviously German late war, but I did get some heads, Cossack heads, and bits and bobs, because a bunch of the files, the 3D files, actually were, you know, you could assemble them in different ways. And look at that little guy, isn't he cool? I do love cavalry. Not only are they fun to play with on the tabletop, but they are also really a joy for me to paint. Mostly because I usually don't really like painting bolt action. It doesn't really work for me. Here he has a 3D print. I think this, again, is a bit of reins that I can snip and attach. Another rider here with a rifle. So what I'm going to do is, here we have one guy brandishing his saber. Oopa. Really crisp prints, really crisp. You can see the individual fingers really well. The face is really good. So, oh, let me show here. Right, I got one here, and let me see if I can get a head. Right. Woo! I dropped one head. Right. So you can see here, right? Some of the torsos are assemble them yourself torsos, like do it yourself, with individually printed heads, and I really like that. That means that I can kit bash a little, which is, you know, that's my jam. I love that. So I am going to start working on my next 20-ish cavalrymen for my Cossack forces. They're going to be in winter cloaks, a lot more than my other Cossacks, which are very much in summer gear. And then they will be, you know, just the same colors. I want to have a similar color palette so that my army looks alike. And I think some of the horses will have very lovely greys. I like a grey horse. Even white sometimes. That's also very cool. Right, so I'll continue unpacking this, and you guys have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.